welcome to the CAPB podcast. So today's podcast is going to be slightly different. We haven't got a guest. We are going to be reflecting back on the previous episodes, and we're just going to have a frank and honest discussion about it and how we've got to this journey, which is absolutely mental, if I'm honest. So Matt and Wayne, we've brought Wayne out of the darkness and into the light for this one. So we'll be having a discussion between the three of us. So like, how do we think it's gone, firstly? Because I think it's just mad.
I think, first of all, Wayne, you took our podcast virginity as our first guest, mate. And I think publicly to say, for you to then come on board and make it as professional looking as it is, that's huge. And we both appreciate you for that.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
I think I wasn't expecting it to be here. I wasn't expecting us to have done 10 episodes. I wasn't even expected us to grow it as it is. You know, we're getting followers, we're getting people messaging, we're getting people who want to come onto the podcast. And I think that's mad. You know, people are saying there's real value in that. I took a bit from this. That was really great. That person's, you know, there's people who've used the services of the guests who never knew how they went into business. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's little bits of value in all of them. We'll probably get onto like what we took away from each of some of the episodes or our key takeaways. But I've just going through it as a small business owner and yourself, Matt, as well. And even if you're not into business or running a business, there's just like some life lessons in there, some real like kind of grit, determination, just getting stuff done, that type of thing. It's been quite cool and following people's paths of how they got to that point as well.
I just think about the journey, and we've discussed this in previous episodes about the initial start of this was Matt and I were trying to do something, trying to record the first pod. It was a full-on car crash, and we needed the help of someone that can actually switch on a computer and obviously get it all together. But it's mad that we started this in June of this year, and we're nearly 5 months down the line, 4 months down the line, and we're gathering real traction. I feel the guests we've had have been amazing. The guests we've got to follow are also amazing, and the key points for me are that there's a theme throughout, I found. And again, I'm sure we'll get onto that. But so this is obviously out to Matt and Wayne. What was the kind of highlight that really stuck out to you over the past sort of episodes we've had where you've gone, oh my God, that's an absolute nugget of information, or I'm going to take that moving forward?
If I can go first, Wayne, I think for me, the diversity of guests has been crazy. All different services, all different ranks, all different lengths of service. People have served for 4 or 5 years, got out and created a business. Others served for 35 years, like Commander Spirit, and created a business. But the standout episode for me that really made me feel this is a real thing was speaking to Jack Wiles from Rugby Buckets. And his energy he brought, his entrepreneurial story and his stuff of building a business from watching a video on YouTube and getting an idea, thinking I can do this. And now watching him now, he's incredible on social media, and he's someone who's really leveraged both sort of TikTok and Instagram, the platforms, to get his brand out there. But even in the last 2 weeks, they've gained another 10,000 followers. He's at like 60,000 followers, and it started with nothing. And he's getting professional contracts and stuff. Obviously. Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. They're using the podcast as a springboard, which is what I think happened. But I think that was the one that really made me think, that story of coming up with an idea, doing it in his bedroom, to doing it on his kitchen table, to going into work one day and coming back and doing it as a side hustle, and coming back from work and having all those orders, and then just let's do it, to where he is now with his with his unit and his. I think that was the one that thought this is mega, man.
Yeah. I think I think there's so many like lessons in there about like kind of just believing in what you've got as a product and what you how you can push it, and obviously utilizing the people around him. Like you mentioned, his dad bouncing ideas off of him all the time. It was a really good episode. I really, from a business perspective, I really liked the Hesketh Healthcare. I thought that was really a really good one. The guy just was switched on, understood business, understood people, understood leadership, and there were so many good values in there from how he. I thought we talked about his principles and his pillars of like we're doing this and we're going to provide like top quality kit, service. Everything's going to be epic, and it's going to be that that. I think what Roy Coppins or Symes said for Commander Spirit is like understated excellence, and I was like, yeah, like it's not polishing it, it's not gold plating it and going over committing. It's just making sure that everything is a good service. It's not just yeah. I think that was something I've took from probably most of the episodes as well. To be fair,
Yeah, Wayne, I totally agree. And the thing from the Hesketh Healthcare thing that stuck out for me was there was two things, and one of them is a real common thread. Was the first one that he initially took a risk. It was like, we're going to do this and see if we can give it a go. And there was a financial risk, a credible risk, all those things with regards to business. That was the first thing. The second thing was he got a business coach. And he said he would go into the group sessions with the business coach, and the business coach would say, I would give you this advice to do this. And I think in his instance, it was like, I think you should open 7 days a week. He said, and so he was like, then I'll open 7 days a week because that's what I'm telling you. He said there would be people who would almost be defensive and have and argue with the people that they're paying for advice for. But Mike was like, that's what you're telling me to do, I'll do that. That's what you're telling me to do, I'll do that. And the proof's in where he is now, which is having a great business and almost like a consultancy where he talks to other dental surgeries to how to build their brand, which is mega, man.
yeah,
I like the two kind of unquote quote medical sort of guests we've had on. So Austere Medical and Fortitude. I mean, the two things I got from that was realizing your skill sets are not potentially always and what we tend to do, military veterans and people that have got out, is we tend to downplay what we've done and how we've done it because it's just a job and we just crack on because we're all leveled at a standard. But what I found is that tapping into those key skill sets has helped their businesses and their decision making moving forward. So I also loved the conversation specifically with the with Fortitude, was the fact that the having conversations and been able to relate to veterans on past experiences that Shelley did. It was great. It was like that's that key moment and that's that kind of avenue that they'd take. And it was just the skills that we can bring over are immense. We just need to know how to tap into them. And yeah, I think that's great.
With Shelley, the thing that really jumped out from Shelley's episode was that she was already a mental health professional before joining the military. And then so she was providing, mental health services and all that care to people. And then she deployed to Afghanistan. And she said how her sort of concept of and her understanding of what people were going through just changed. Even though she'd been a health care professional and a mental health professional for years, it was like, now I get it. Now I get it, and I feel I can provide a better service now. And I think that was mega.
The entrepreneurship I've found in some of our episodes has been great. So the likes of Challenge Coins, and you've already mentioned Rugby Buckets, but that thing where they've gone, actually, this can work, and initially didn't work. I mean, from starting on their kitchen table, making coins or finding something when they were deployed and sort of doing it as a hobby, to then realizing, right, I can actually make a good go of this. And their stories were just like, yeah, it's like that. we don't really. You think of entrepreneurship, you think of, if you look at social media and all this lot, and it's just like get rich quick sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
these guys haven't done that. They've gone and really grafted and really believed in their products, and I thought that just showed definitely through some of the episodes. And I also liked TC's episode as well. That was the standing on the start line, wanting to, and his whole spin around why we keep fit.
Yeah.
I took
That was a
away
real
from the fact that,
goosebump short, wasn't it?
yeah, exactly. I was like, well, yeah, if you don't have to keep fit just to do a race, you could just keep fit for that longevity and being on that start line at 10 years down the line and being able to smash whoever is, it's great.
Yeah. Tom's
I think
was really good.
the challenge coin one was Tom Newey is like he's a real standout kind of business person as well. Just from a sales perspective, he saw value in that like tangible, like is that real kind of that emotional, tangible kind of intangible emotional kind of attachment to that coin when he first had that given to him by the what the American pilot display team again called
The, is it
Angels.
the Blue Angels?
Blue Angels, I think it's called. But like getting that from them was quick Google. But yeah, that just from there and taking that concept and then running with it to a point where he almost thought, he failed with his first order, but and the guy rang him back was actually 10 minutes later saying, "Well, we changed our mind," blah blah, and then it's just hit off from there. It's like 750,000 coins in the last 7 years or so,
Yeah.
and that's like amazing. And I'm like,
It,
props to him,
yeah.
because he's a proper like not greasy salesman, that type of thing. He's a good salesperson. Like he's just well spoken, understands his product, understands his market really well, and he's just again understated excellence again, providing a really good service. No refunds in 7 years, like because he hasn't had to. That's amazing.
I think what you said there about it's the service bit. You know what I mean? Providing a level of service and like having a element of pride in that. You know, like you said, he's not had to pay a refund since he started, and I think that's an incredible thing. But that links to like Dinger's episode. You know, in the Reform In is all about the service. Can we give people the best experience? You know, he said, good food, good company, good and a good environment. You know, he built it. He went into it with a business head, but with an ethos and a culture which he'd learned so much from in the military, and thought this was important that we have this, and how he could transfer that across to delivering a service to people. You know, as opposed because
that's a running thread, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
because that providing of the service is exactly what sort of Challenge the Wild does as well, and how they like wanted to provide what is on paper quite a simplistic idea, and they took it to where it is like you turn up and you are the most important person on that day, and we are going to make this experience amazing for you. And it's that experience and customer driven. It's and it's kind of what we kind of want to do things right and professional at all times. But that's the customer focus. I found that making the customer first, and like that old adage, the customer's always right. Well, make sure that the customer is happy more than anything.
For me, mate. It took me the leadership part. It took to me is like in the military when you're a full screw or a sergeant or whatever, you always look after your blokes. It's the key to blokes, and you just treat your customers like your blokes. So you're like, as long as they're okay, as long as they're getting what they need, we can deal with the rest. And linking to the challenge Wild was when he was like, I understood how to plan, I understood how to organize events. I'd done countless expeditions stuff in the military, but I still had a deficit in skill set about selling. And I think that was the key for me. It was like, it's all right having this, and I think what he said was, it's all right having this incredible product, but if you don't know how to sell, then no one's gonna have it. And I think that's a unique one. And how do you teach yourself to sell? How do you teach yourself to be able to, how do you back yourself? By saying,
that's the thing. Like we're absolutely shit at that. We're absolutely shit at going, this is what I can deliver. This is what I like from a veteran or military perspective, because I feel we all are gauged against a baseline. So we're baseline standardized across everything that we did. We do this, you run a certain way, you walk a certain way, you dress a certain way. That is the standard. And when coming out of the military into civilian street, there's no standard. So it's like you're just doing what you'd normally do, and people are going, yeah, but you need to talk about that. And I'm like, isn't this normal? Like, don't everyone just do this? And like, so we need to get better, I feel, at shouting about ourselves, not in a weird sort of look at me, like all that, but more of a this is what I can deliver, and this is what I can produce based upon my previous skill sets. And I think some people have it, and some people don't. Some people find it very difficult. I find it quite difficult to talk about.
I think
Stuff
with
like that, 'cause I
all
just think
with
it's normal.
everything on that subject, Paul, I think it's really good that it's good that you brought that up, and it's also good that if you look through all those episodes as well, and what you're saying there is understanding your value or understanding the value of your service or product, and then talking about it and delivering it in a way that makes it stand out or make it different. And like let's say challenge the world, it's potentially just going for a walk, but it's the wrap around the layers of service you put on it that make it special. And it's something in the 9.5 years that I've been out now, that in business people just don't put humans at the center of their product or service. Like they don't think about that user centric kind of product or service. It's just not a thing. So the ones that do obviously do very, very well, and the ones that make the experience of using that product or using that service creates repeat customers, creates referrals. So I mean, I just think back to my old man when I may have gone off a bit of a tangent here, but think about my old man when I used to labour with him as a kid as a plasterer. He was a plasterer. Still now, 40, 50 years later, he doesn't even he's not on the tools anymore, but still gets calls about, oh, can you come and plaster this, X, Y, and Z, just because of the service he provided at that time. And that's something that I think was really relevant throughout the episodes.
I think the power of the network, isn't it? And it's like the guests on the podcast. Initially, when we spoke about it, I like firsthand knew 4 or 5 people I'd served with, people I'd deployed with, who went into business, and I was like, great, we've got a list of we've got a starter for 10 of guests, and then it's grown. It's like grown to like Commando Spirits. They've come on, and that's through social media, through the network. Same with Jack Wiles from Rugby Buckets. It's like from the network, it just builds, and you think these guys are doing some incredible stuff. And that is one thing I will point out. I think the veteran community is really strong. Right? I mean, people can pick out negatives and positives or whatever, but I think the veteran community and the support network out there, including like LinkedIn, including on the social medias, there's so many different podcasts doing different stuff. I think there is like a wealth of resources available for veterans. Now, what's the point of our podcast? From the start, it was about just talking to people who'd left the military and gone into business.
Celebrating veterans in business.
Yeah, who had gone into business, like entrepreneurial spirit. Now, it is fascinating because, like Paul said earlier on, they've all got a similar story, similar, and the similarities are they're in the military and now they've got a business. But I find most of them is like they had a passion for what they're doing at the beginning, and they've managed to turn that into a business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's incredible. It's like, I've got a passion for this. But then conversely, when you have some of the conversations, and I think it was, so the 3 that jump out with that link to what I'm going to speak to are like Commando Spirit, Hesketh Healthcare, and then Dinger, which is that heart over head. You're investing your all into a business. Where does the head take over and go, that's not going to be positive. Even though this is my baby, this is not going to be positive for business. I've got to keep it authentic. That's the reason I've got a business. I'll keep going that way,
Right. We've talked about the episodes a bit. I want, as the producer of this, I would like to know where you two want to take this next. What's your next? What's the future of the CAPB podcast?
Oof.
Okay. No, I think we've
discussed this
about it a little bit. I think first of all is to continue to provide a quality. That's the first thing, a quality service, a quality podcast. We started, and if you listen to the first episode, And I know it was you that were on it, and we're entirely
I think
grateful.
it was the guest. To be honest, I think it was the guest. I don't think it was the host.
Yeah, I think the sound quality was poor.
Yeah.
The brand, it was all a bit shit,
Bit chip shop.
It was all a bit chip shop, but we wanted to get out an MVP if you want. We wanted to get something out. And I think where we are now, I want to continue on that, using your expertise, Wayne, we've got microphones, that's the start. And we've got that. And I think that's the thing. I'd like to continue providing a really decent, package. But there are so many veterans doing amazing things. And it's, for me, is there an avenue where we can look at inspirational veterans who are doing stuff? And there are plenty out there, whether that's people who have been injured. So they haven't necessarily gone into business, but they've gone on to do incredible things. I think that would be a really cool place to take the podcast.
I think, and a penny there, isn't there?
Go on. I think you're going to say it, but I
think the other thing, and it's something, it's always astounding me, it's like there are so many amazing military charities out there, looking after mental health. I've done some work and raised some money for Blind Veterans UK, all these charities, and there are so many charities out there, but to give them a platform where we can talk about what they're doing, what they're giving to the community, what they're giving to the veterans community, and how do veterans get in touch with the charities? I think that would be cool too.
I agree. If I'm honest, like that, I thought this was just going to be a thing we would do like 5 because we procrastinated because sort of life got in the way, and now to be thinking and even potentially planning further series of the podcast, for me, I'm just like, fuck it, let's do it. Like why not? Like we're getting, I mean, my whole wrap around the podcast and why we do it is to celebrate the quiet, the unknown people. Like there's businesses out there at the moment that are flying, absolutely flying, and you may not know that they're veteran owned, and it's like, okay, we want to tap into that. But there's also people on there that are, making a living doing from what they do, and they're veteran in their own businesses. And we have this podcast to be able to go, do you know what? We can shed some light and get some sort of just celebrate what you're doing, regardless of what you're doing. I mean, we're not like big, but just to refer to what Matt said, the veteran community is massive. And if people in the veteran community like and share and follow this amazing podcast, by the way, right?
Pretty amazing, yeah.
It's pretty amazing, right?
It's pretty good.
We get people. I mean, we can just look. If you look at the figures, Matt, right in the background, people that listen to this podcast and watch the videos, they're not just from like the UK. It's all over everywhere, and that's because the veteran community and others have sort of spread like globally, and we can literally say this is a global podcast, right? because I'm saying there is people that have listened to it. Now, I don't care whether they're on holiday over there; they listen to it, so that's a stat, all right?
Okay, so we have been listened to in 15 countries.
Wow.
UK, US, France, Spain, Australia, Taiwan, Ireland, Malta, Poland, India, Norway, Canada, Cyprus, Jersey, Iceland. That's mad. And I think even for me, and even Wales as well. Do you know what I mean? But we listen to I think, like, for me, having the podcast and even having like a YouTube channel with 10 episodes on it, having a Spotify.
1 second, Mum's getting bothered. Hello?
I'm getting bothered.
Bothered.
He's getting his lunch brought. Yeah,
look at this. He's getting bothered. He's getting his lunch brought.
Honestly, right? If that is what getting bothered is like, I want to be bothered. Nothing.
You get dogs and toddlers come in, mate.
Oh yeah, get it down, you Wayne. Don't wait, mate.
Oh, don't wait, mate. Go on mute, mate. Smash it down there. Guy's absolutely inhaling a bacon sandwich.
Double bacon sandwich, mate. Double bacon sandwich. I think, so back to the pod while Wayne chokes on his tea and sausage bat. It's his birthday, isn't it? It's his birthday sausage bat. I think
it's not
even having that, the numbers. We never did this for the numbers, and
No.
we're not we're not challenging. I remember on the PT with TC episode, we talked about challenging Joe Rogan. We're not in this. It's not in our sights yet, and the numbers are. I think the numbers are relatively humble, But it's like, for me, the fact that anyone listens to it blows my mind.
Yeah.
The fact that we've got like 60 people who are subscribed on YouTube. The fact that there's people subscribed on Spotify. The fact that people watch it and we get feedback. I got a message on Instagram about us, and it was just from someone who I've never met, don't know them, and they said, "Oh, love the pod, love your work. There's an ex-parachute regiment guy who's opened a coffee shop, and it's called the Fortunate Son Coffee, I think, and it's a full cafe. And he started. I've looked on Instagram and I've connected with him, and the intention would be get him on. Why not? But he left and just got like a Land Rover, fit out, and did events and stuff with a coffee truck. And now he's got like a building, a cafe, and it's that kind of thing where you think, this guy's got a cafe on a high street. He's opened his business. And that's mega, and we wouldn't know. And like you said, Paul, earlier on, it's like, how many businesses are out there that you don't know are veteran owned? And I say we've got some. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, as I say, the one thing I really liked what you picked up on as well is the complementary goods, how these the guests can benefit each other, and talk about that military networks. Like you mentioned about the Reform Inn and Commando Spirit. It's like, well, he's got a pub. This guy supplies alcohol. You two should meet. And there's nothing in it for us in that sense. It's just like, let's use this community to grow each other's businesses.
So I've got a question for us. How have you found running the podcast with life, as in general day to day? Because we've had some technical issues. We've had like issues getting
people
like
interrupting your sausage sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah, everything like. Because I want to make this clear, like, we are all full-time working, right? We get the episodes in where we can, and this is like trying to negotiate 4 people's diaries is like trying to herd cats. So initially, very, very easy for me because I had nothing to do for the first couple of months. But how have you found life and the podcast and
I think it's a good question. I think it's a good question, and I think from my point of view, I let it get away with me a little bit, as in like getting really excited, and I was like, got loads of guests, and I just wanted to get all the episodes. I wanted, these people want to speak, they want to come on the podcast, so let's get the episodes in. Let's send an invite out. Are you free these dates? And it was almost like, for me, selfishly, it was like, let's just get loads of people on, so we've got content, and then we'll deal with it afterwards. And it was only till recently where I was like having a conversation with Wayne, where Wayne was our single point of not failure, but Wayne was our, because you're producer,
success.
Yes. But because Wayne was producing the episodes and Wayne was doing the editing, it was more like, oh, Wayne, we've got 3 episodes now. Can you? And it was putting too much pressure on Wayne. So that's when we had an agreement. Say, listen, let's record 2 episodes, and can we turn them over in 2 weeks to record 2 episodes a month? Let's just get some kind of cadence in, which is, that we can deal with, And then it was also, we've learned as well, Wayne would take a significant amount of time to edit an episode because he was trying to do the transcript and all that kind of stuff, and that would take time. And it was like, okay, cool. So how can we, if you want a bit of an agile way of working, how can we limit some of the waste here and make this a bit leaner? Well, let's just take the transcript off. So that freed some time up. Then it was like, let's just download it. And if you send that out to all of us, we can then send you the bits that we think we should edit out, and we could do the short. So it became this collaborative thing, as opposed to handing it over the fence and saying, Wayne, can you make that look pretty so we can release it as a podcast? And I think that's something I've learned hugely from it. With regards to balancing life, like, if the kids are at home, like that, that's always like, because it was in the summer holidays, wasn't it? And trying to record episodes, the kids were home it was hilarious, but it was part of it. We're not doing this in a studio. My laptop's 10 years old, and I've got a secondhand mic. So it's like, we've got what we've got. So it's almost been fun trying to navigate our way around to how all this works. And I think if anyone is new to the podcast, and if they listen to the first episode, I would say ride it out, man, and listen to some of the other episodes, because the sound quality gets better.
It does.
You know,
the banter doesn't.
The banter doesn't. The guests are all of an equally high standard,
Yep.
and I think that was one of the things for me that was stressing me out at the beginning. Was we've got these amazing guests on, including you, Wayne, with these amazing stories and these amazing businesses, and we're letting them down by having poor audio on a podcast. So that if anyone does listen to it, they're going to turn it off without listening to the story because the microphone's crackly, or do you know what I mean? So that was stressing me out.
Yeah, I say producing it is been like such a learning curve for me as well. Obviously, we use Riverside, which is it's a kind of new application, browser led mainly, and like the one episode with the rugby buckets episode where we recorded loads, and his phone was full up, and we lost like so much like value just by doing that. So we had to get him back on to finish it off. And like we were stressing, weren't we? And thankfully, he was like he obliged us, and we understood that we were he understood that we were learning, and just got back on, and we cracked on and stitched all together. And Riverside's like props to them. They've took on a lot of feedback that I've given them and released it really quickly and updated the application. So, I mean, some of the most recent updates made my job so much easier. And removing the transcript as well was we always look at value. Matt, we have our like we obviously live near each other, so we have kind of conversations all the time. Talk about like value. What does it add value? And like, there's so many applications that we use now that have accessibility stuff, so they can do the transcripts for us. Like, just click the CC button, it puts captions on. Do you know what I mean? So that's helpful for me, and like really reducing that waste and making sure that everything we put out there is value adding. And in the shorts now for the application in Riverside, it's just I can highlight it, export it to a new clip, and do that. So that's really helped save a lot of time, like kind of personal life. And thank you as well, guys, for like recognizing the pressure it was on me as well, and recognizing the value I add to it as well, which was quite nice. And it's always nice to be recognized for certain things. So
You do, yeah, mate. It's like it's all right for me and Matt to gob off every week, and then like just obviously life events for me personally. This podcast
yeah,
was needed. I needed like focus for the months during my recovery.
You had cancer. You had bowel cancer.
Yes,
we can say it. We've said it before.
Yes. As you said, Matt, I did have cancer, but successfully on the road to recovery now, and it's all been like removed, and I'm sort of undergoing ongoing treatment. But during that time of recovery, we recorded the first session before anything happened. As in, I had cancer. All right, we recorded the episode, and then post-op, we waited for a bit, obviously, because
you're in rag, mate.
I was in the hurt locker, and then it kind of like when you had that, you said like that excitability of booking guests. I was like, yeah, I've got like nothing in my diary. I'm up.
Let me check.
Let me check. Oh yeah, literally nothing. Great, and it kind of give me a focus. To go, oh great, this Thursday, because it always happens to be a Thursday, by the way. We can record. I've got this. Oh great, I need to then. Then it was like, right, where am I going to set up? Well, I can't set up because I can't move very well and things like that. So for me, the podcast has been it's been great on a personal level, because not only do I learn from the guests, but it give me without sounding fucking weird or anything, it gave me a bit of a sense of purpose during my recovery, because I had, I was bored as fuck doing jigsaws and Sudoku puzzles, and other puzzles are available, but like I couldn't do anything. I wasn't able to move, so the podcast was enabled me to be able to do things, and that was
just on that, Paul. Right, so I would speak to Wayne without speaking, and I would say to Wayne, I would be like, "This is really important. This is really important that we do this for that we get the things." Because for me, as I say, we've talked about it for years and years, and I think without you getting the diagnosis of cancer and having that life-changing moment happen, we'd still be talking about a podcast.
I think so, yeah.
We'd still be talking about it. We wouldn't have done it. We'd have just procrastinated about it. And I think, for me, like when we started to do it, like, and we started to record episodes, and we started to get guests in, you were very like, I don't want anyone. I'm not.
Yeah.
No business. And you're right. It is no business. And if this gets edited out, so be it. It's so be it. But I think the fact that you were always there, the fact that you were in Hurt Locker, the fact that like even now it's like as you're transitioning back to full-time work and you're still undergoing chemo, I think it's still a thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you said, I look forward to it when we've got a guest. And I know we've the episode we recorded last week, which we're going to release next week, is probably one of the best ones we've done. It was incredible and made me look forward to it. I'm looking forward to releasing it. We've got another episode lined up with another, and it's like, I can't actually believe we're speaking to these people. You know what I mean? It gives me something to really get excited about. Whereas before it was like bucket list, can we do it? Let's stop talking about it. To now it's like, where can we take it? This is really exciting. You know?
Yeah, I feel, like touching back on that, boys. I remember Matt when we went for our weekly run, like just talking about say what happened and things like that, and sharing his side and being supportive for him. And I know we're getting a bit soppy now, but like it's a bit it's a bit like bit cheesy, but like that brotherhood of the military, like it exists well beyond the wire. Do you know what I mean? Like I know we're sworn enemies, Paul. We've never even met in person, actually, have we? So, but no. Remy and Royal Engineers working together. I don't know about that, but like just that. I don't know. You always feel that. I always feel obliged to help a service leaver, service people, anyone that's serving the country. I always feel obliged to kind of support them, regardless of what's going on.
We all have a common bond, don't we? We all have that thing in common where, we regardless of what Cap Badge Corps, or service you're in, you go, I'm going to help you, because it's kind of like you said, it's a connection that's really, you don't find it in civistry. And I think it's because most of the time you relate to these people because they've been through the same adversity as you've been through during your service, and they know what it's like to wake up. They know what it's like to walk past a Portaloo mid-sun in the middle of Afghan or in the middle of Basra, and it's like hasn't been cleaned out for days, and it's like, that's jiving. They know the importance of repatriations and things like that. They just know it. They know how it's that emotional bond. Even though we've never, like you say, we've never met, we have that emotional bond based upon our service experience, and I just think that'll always be there. And we can spot. I don't know about you two, but I can spot a service leaver from a mile away.
It's hard by the way that they act. Now they've got
getting hard now with the beards, mate.
That's true.
Harder with the beards.
Yeah, not a fan.
He's got a 1,000-yard stare, but he's also got a beard like a lumberjack.
Yeah.
I think for me that, and linking to that bond, for the podcast is, some of the people who come on the podcast left the military recently. Some of them left 20 years ago, right? But like, I know banter is almost like a cancelled word at the moment, but like the camaraderie and the humour of the guests makes it for me, and I feel genuinely, and again, if we're going to go down this way, like, I keep in touch with all of the guests still on the podcast. Some of them WhatsApp, it's like texts, how's things. Some of it's from, via social media, but I feel like, I've spoke to these people for half an hour, 40 minutes, and now they're in I feel like they're people I could chat to if I needed stuff. And I think that's a crazy thing, because where in anywhere else could you chat to someone for 30 minutes and then be like on like normal speaking terms, WhatsApp phone calls and stuff? I think that's a cool thing, I
think it's vitally important that what we've discussed today gets heard, and like from our point of view, it's amazing that we've actually got this far, and we continue to, I feel, grow and gather momentum. Yeah. So I want to kind of close the episode there, and thanks everyone for listening, and really look forward to what's coming up next and where we can take the podcast. Some of the guests we've got on are amazing. We recorded episodes last week, and like Matt said, it's definitely worth a listen. Again, if you've not heard of us, okay, we're on all the socials, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that kind of fun stuff. And if you feel that there's veterans out there that would like a platform to be heard upon, and where we can basically celebrate the shit out of them, get in touch. Get in touch with myself, Wayne, or Matt and we can look to make it happen. Thanks for your time, everyone. Much appreciated.
I think just to close off, mate. Yeah, the bookend it. I think it's let's see where it goes, man. It's exciting. The whole thing's exciting. You know, as I say, we're now on LinkedIn as well, and just having the channel on there, that's grown 200 people in a matter of weeks. And I think that veteran community thing's important. But final thing I want to add is it's an absolute pleasure doing it with you two. Paul, I've known you a while.
Yeah.
Pretty much since you were born. And Wayne, obviously, we've known each other for the last 18 months, whatever. But it is doing things like this is like, you know, I really look forward to it. I really look forward to it. So thank you you too. You know, now you can put your tea cozy back on now.
Can't, mate, my head's freezing.
The joys of North Wales, mate.